So tonight, me and Randy are going to talk about a very important topic, and that is the topic of hypnosis. Both me and Randy are hypnotherapists, and I'm not talking about the kind of hypnosis where you get a certificate in a weekend. We are licensed, certified, and registered with the American Board of Hypnotherapy and International Guild, one of the well-renowned hypnotherapy associations. Hypnotherapy, unlike psychotherapy, it does not require a license, but it does require a certification by a good school. What a lot of people don't know is that psychology has emerged from hypnosis. And until the late 1800s, psychology was a branch of philosophy dealing with speculation about the human mind. And there was no experimental or therapeutic practices of psychology as we know it today. So a lot of people are afraid of hypnosis because hypnosis has gotten a bad rap, especially because of the entertainment. A lot of people turned to stage hypnosis and turn it into an entertainment factor, which is very sad for a lot of people that can benefit from hypnosis. And then when it comes to psychology, a lot of people think that depth psychology originated just from Freud's analytical insights, which came from his work of interpretation of dream in 1899. But psychology and psychoanalysis actually originated from the practices of hypnosis, mesmerism, and earlier esoteric disciplines, right? So somehow with Freud and after Freud, and because some people turn to stage hypnosis and turn it into an entertainment event. But not only that, I think it's mostly due to Freud that figured that psychotherapy is better than hypnotherapy. But interesting enough, he practiced hypnotherapy on his cousin to get to the root of psychoanalysis based on what Freud's cousin was revealing through the hypnosis. So it's very important to note this particular fact in history because Freud is the one that derailed the importance of hypnosis and figured that psychoanalysis is much more important than hypnosis, which I'm not saying that one is more important than the others because they're not. They're both very valuable tools, and they both work differently. But I don't like hearing hypnosis being put down because it's lesser than psychotherapy, because it's not. It's not. All right. So as comes with many doctors and many therapists, there are good ones and there are mediocre ones and there are not so good ones, and it goes with everything. But going back to hypnosis, the modern history of hypnosis begins with Renaissance physicians, scientists, and alchemists studying the phenomena of magnetism. Magnetism is a very important topic, and emotional intelligence falls into magnetism, and also trauma falls into magnetism. And this magnetism has to do with the amygdala, which I've been talking about the amygdala for quite a while. But these physicians during the Renaissance were people like Paracelsus, William Gilbert, Johannes Kepler, Athanasius, Kierkegaard, and even Isaac Newton. And the study of magnetism was not limited to geology, but also influenced the practice of medicine. And even in the 18th century, Maximilian healed with steel magnets. But Franz Anton Mesmer was a medical doctor in Austria around the time of the French Revolution, and he was a student of Maximilian Hell who healed with steel magnets due to the properties of magnetism. And Mesmer is the one who advanced an ancient idea of universal fluid, which became known as animal magnetism, as opposed to mineral magnetism. And he became famous for his many, many cures. And Mesmer, just like Paracelsus, rejected the idea that illness was due to an imbalance of bodily humors, otherwise known as temperaments. Back then, the language about the four temperaments was known as the four humors, which is not humor as we understand humor now. And Mesmer was the first to theorize an unconscious that could cause disease. And today we are flooded with a positivity and us knowing to think positive thoughts, to be healthy and live a healthy life and all that. So it's Mesmer who came with that. And that's why we have the term mesmerism, right? And Mesmer was influenced by Paracelsus and Maximilian Hell, produced an altered state of consciousness in his patients to establish communication with the unconscious. And then he removed the symptoms. He removed the symptoms from the unconscious. And he called this process mesmerism. And today, we might be familiar with some things or some aspects of something can be, you've been mesmerized by it, but it's not a true usage of the original word of mesmerism. Because by Anton Mesmer, by removing his patient's symptoms through communicating with the unconscious, created this process of mesmerism, and this later gave rise to hypnotism. And Mesmer demonstrated that there are deeper portions of the mind that are not accessible in the usual state of consciousness. Like right now, when we are aware, talking, and consciously aware, a lot of portions of the mind are not accessible. And Mesmer demonstrated that in certain altered state of consciousness, the mind has the power to do extraordinary things, such as healing illness. And back then, Egyptians had temples of sleep where people would go to these temples for healing purposes. And ancient Greeks, they would have the altars of sleep or healing, where again, they would go there for healing purposes. And the way healing happened is that people were given hypnotic suggestion, just as Mesmer did, to remove people's symptoms. So that's quite fascinating, if you ask me, because nowadays we look at surgery and we look at all kinds of transplants that prolong people's life. But with all of the growth of positive psychology and growth of emotional intelligence and so on, we do know, and by now science have demonstrated that thinking and positive thinking creates the happy neurotransmitters. And also scientists have demonstrated that positive people have a completely different response to their amygdala as opposed to lesser positive people. So all of this, all of the new science discovery goes hand in hand with what Mesmer did back then, just by the power of voice, words, and a lot of integrity. And a lot of integrity, do no harm. It's very, very important. And because he was so successful a lot of people got scared by it. He figured he did something not kosher. I don't want to use other words, so we're just going to stay with the word kosher, right? And a lot of people disagreed with them. But just think about it. You have a bunch of ailments, and then you have a few hypnosis sessions. Then, like, I take time to study you. I take time to understand what's happening with you. What are your physical troubles? What are emotional, mental, your processes? How you go about it, to understand how you work, how your problems are affecting you, how you are affecting your problems, and all that. And then come up with a plan to just remove this from your subconscious thoughts, patterns, and habitual habits, to kind of reprogram your amygdala. I mean, it's not correctly said to reprogram your amygdala, because amygdala, it's an organ, right? But amygdala is the center of is the emotional center of the brain. And Daniel Goleman talks about the amygdala hijack, and I've been talking about being friends with your amygdala for quite a while. So hypnosis is powerful, but is not to be left in the hands of just anybody, just like you would not allow someone to have surgery on you, someone other than a surgeon. It's as simple as that, right? And are there people that still perform stage hypnosis and for the purpose of entertainment? Yes. Yeah. So is that for you? If you want to be entertained by it, go ahead and be entertained by it. But a lot of people need to know that hypnosis is highly, highly powerful in helping people with a lot of things. Because in psychotherapy, that's pretty much talk therapy. So in a non-altered state of consciousness, which we are right now, it's a regular, normal, aware state of consciousness, certain parts of the mind are not accessible. Why? It's just how the mechanism works, right? So because of the stimuli, we have a lot of input stimuli, and we are processing stimuli consciously and unconsciously, all of the five, through our five senses. So in hypnosis, when me and Randy take you into relaxation mode, we eliminate and reduce the effect of multi-stimuli input and management. And when you have less input, then you enter less stimuli input, then you enter into an altered state of consciousness, and then we can communicate with your subconscious mind in a way that is healthy for you, in a way to resolve your issue. But we don't do that for entertainment. Please don't waste my time. And I understand that a lot of people are afraid by it, and they don't agree with that, and that's okay. I'm not going to address their people. They have a right to their beliefs. And I hope that whatever their beliefs are, they are not hurting other people, right? They are not telling other people what's the right way, and they are not hurting them by telling them, no, that healthy way is not healthy for you. So I encourage everybody to look into their own health, into avenues that are available for them, what's possible, what's not possible, what works for them, to give it a try and see if it works. Just like when you have a headache and you reach for a Tylenol or an Advil, and you see if it helps your headache or it doesn't help your headache, so goes with hypnosis. But if you don't believe Anna, then you might as well just click next, because I'm not addressing those people. I'm addressing people that are interested in elevating their emotional intelligence, which includes taking better care of their health, whether the health is physical, which hypnosis has been very successful with the physical health. This is what Anton Mesmer did. He removed physical symptoms and was successful. Yeah. And well, how quickly, we don't know how quickly. We're just going to have to go back in history and read a bunch of things. But back then in the 1800s, we were not overwhelmed with the acceleration of consciousness with what's happening now. And we are bombarded with a lot of stimuli. So not only we have enough of our five senses as stimuli input, we have the technology on top of being bombarded by the technology with more stimuli input, and we are overwhelmed. We're just overwhelmed. We don't have time. We're overwhelmed and we're stressed. So a lot of people come to hypnosis after they've done psychotherapy. And again, and I'm not saying that it's better than, because it's not better than. Psychotherapy has its role, and there are many different ways to do psychotherapy, psychoanalysis, and all that. And then hypnosis has its way, and it has many different ways to do hypnosis. So I particularly like the Ericksonian style of hypnosis, because it's very permissive, and it's not as what's the better word to use? It's not as directive as other ones. The permissiveness of Ericksonian hypnosis allows the client, patient, or whatever you want to call it, allows the client to find ways that are good for them, in a way that's good for them, in a way that doesn't hurt other people. You don't have to take from others to have for yourself. And this is very, very important. This is very, very important because your subconscious mind, it's wider and smarter than your conscious mind. It is your subconscious mind that runs your body. It is your subconscious mind that beats your heart and flows your blood and distributes oxygen to your organs, and nutrition and digestion, nutrition, excretion, and all that. And if you think about it, the human body, it's quite a fascinating factory that has a lot of departments with a lot of organs. So there is a lot that is at work. So there has to be a manager, a director that directs all of these processes, which are a lot of these processes. So that's your subconscious mind that takes care of all of that. And it's a big job. Big job. So your conscious mind doesn't even pay attention to that, right? Unless there's issue and something hurts or something doesn't work right, then we go to the doctor, and the doctors are training different specialties, right? So to believe that your conscious mind has power over the subconscious mind, it does, but not in a way in which you think it does. You can consciously choose to influence your subconscious mind, because subconscious mind doesn't respond to direction, go left, go right. Subconscious mind works in a form of patterns. And this is where hypnotherapy, not stage hypnosis, I'm not talking about stage hypnosis, works very well, because it addresses patterns. And it's just, it's wonderful. It's just, I've had a lot of hypnotherapy done on me, and after I've seen the results and the expansion, and just if all you get is relaxation, you're successful. If all you get is clarity, you've achieved a great deal. But people achieve much, much more than just relaxation and just clarity. And there's so many case studies, and Erickson came out with at least 300 case studies in his literature, but he had many more clients than that. And Erickson is the one who revolutionized hypnotherapy, and he pretty much influenced through the use of neural language. Erickson was a master in using neural language, which is not languages in written words. That's not what neural linguistic is. And certain words make up no. Neuro language is a language that speaks directly to the subconscious. And in order to speak neuro language, you have to have training in it. You can't just come up with whatever and to be successful in just a few sessions. So it's the most fascinating. It's the most fascinating aspect of the human mind, if you ask me. So, just like Mesmer, we're trying to remove a lot of your symptoms to restore health. Now, is it possible to do this with every symptom and every single person? No, it's not possible, right? Does every person that receives a heart transplant going to be successful and survive? No. Are people dying every day? Yes. Do we have other illnesses that we don't have solutions for? Yes. So it's not a one size fits all, but still hypnosis is one of the most wondrous things, working with the subconscious mind, to have your subconscious mind help you be better at what you do, that you can do better. Randy?
Excuse me. There are a lot of misconceptions. Do you want me to ask you about some misconceptions and you can address them?
Yes, let's just talk about it and have some fun and have a little bit of humor on it. And humor is part of hypnotherapeutic techniques. And yes, there's a lot of misconceptions about hypnosis.
Be very serious about humor. Is hypnosis sleep?
No, it's not. Hypnosis, we don't put people to sleep. We help people. We awaken people to their realization by which they have access to their full potential. Hypnosis is not sleep. Absolutely not.
So why do they say you're getting sleepier?
Because there's neuro language, and I'm not going to give out all the secrets. You're getting sleepier and sleepier. It's just a neuro language that has to do with the process, and we want to engage the subconscious into a particular process to get you to a particular altered state of consciousness where we can do therapy.
A lot of hypnotists don't use the word sleep, even though hypno was the goddess of sleep. A lot of hypnotists don't use the word sleep. Another question. Is it, if somebody's in a trance, will they say things that they don't want to say or do things they don't want to do?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Hypnosis, I'm multitasking here and I'm doing a few other things at the same time. No, hypnosis doesn't control your mind. You can, at any time, you can get out of hypnosis very easily. It's just an altered state of consciousness. Just like if you're asleep, deep asleep, and then a big noise happens, siren, you will be waken up. The same with hypnosis. If somebody other than the hypnotist or the client comes on and say, wake up, you will wake up. So there was some digital happening in here. Hypnosis, it's not sleep, but the process of it, as we go to sleep and as there are stages of sleep, you have to have stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and then rapid eye movement. So there are stages of altered consciousness. So you're feeling sleepy when during a hypnosis induction is just a neuro language.
What about getting stuck in a trance? Do you think anybody can get stuck in a trance and they never come out?
No. There is no such thing as getting stuck on a trance. Actually, it is, but not from hypnosis. Being stuck on a trance is is being part of a cult where you follow someone's ideology and someone's truth, so to speak, and you follow everything they do and everything they say, and you believe everything they say. That is being stuck on a trance. You are being in a trance because you are not thinking for yourself. Somebody else is telling you what to think and what to do. So that is a trance. Extremism. There's a lot of extremism going on a planet nowadays. That is being stuck on a trance. You not having an open mind to see alternatives. That is being stuck on a trance. So people are stuck on a trance, and people are stuck on a trance through their everyday living. When they have, this is the only way, this is the way, or this is the only way, people are in a trance.
It's an interesting question, because if people can do what they want to do, if a hypnotist can't make anybody do what they don't want to do, you look at somebody like Jim Jones, who put 900 people in some kind of a trance. And did they all want to kill themselves and their kids and their children?
Okay, I would like to not acknowledge any bad people by their name. So we can probably just talk about them. I have no respect for those kind of people. And I don't want to acknowledge their name or what they're doing. He's not the only cult leader. I can hypnotize 900 people and get them on their way to well-being and happiness and joy and happiness. I'm not interested in a cult. I'm not interested in my way or the highway, right? So it's wrong to do that. It's very wrong, whether you're a cult leader, whether you're a religious, spiritual leader, whether you're any kind of other leader. And don't get me started. It is wrong to tell people that is one way, it's one my way or the highway. That is wrong. And you are in a trance if you just go follow one person and what they say, it's the whole truth and nothing. Come on, please, no. So hypnosis, you're safer in hypnosis than to follow a maniac or a narcissist. You're much safer in hypnosis.
Okay. We will go on to something less touchy.
Yes, no kidding. Yeah, no kidding.
Let's see. What do people usually experience? What do they feel when they have hypnosis?
In hypnosis, people are, why are you asking me all this question? I can ask you all this question, but it's okay. Let's have fun. Let's have fun. Well, in hypnosis, the very first thing you have, the worst thing that can happen to you in hypnosis, you get relaxed. So some people entered into an altered state of consciousness, which is perceived as sleep. But if we are to measure that sleep, it's not sleep. It's just a very relaxed feeling. And the brain produces, that we are aware, 5 different types of brainwave. It's gamma, beta, alpha, theta, delta. So in order for you to be asleep, you have to be in delta brainwave, and then in between the stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of sleep and REM, REM. And it takes a while to get there. People that have difficulties fall asleep, they know how difficult it is to get there, right? So no, you don't achieve sleep in hypnosis. You merely go in theta. And sometimes people are just tired. And even in theta brain mode, their eyes close and they get very, very relaxed and they feel as if they sleep, but they don't. Advanced meditators and people that do self-hypnosis, they have done it for a long time, and those advanced Buddhist monks and transcendental meditation, they can get into theta brain level all by themselves, just by directing their stream of thoughts and feeling a particular feeling. It's what I call feelfulness. So yeah, what you feel during hypnosis can all be pleasant, unless we're working out the trauma. And that's a different, that's just a different therapeutic goal to work through a trauma. But even when working through a trauma, to remove traumatic patterns, to remove the symptoms of a trauma from a person during hypnosis, even if someone has semi-conscious experience of that, it's of much lesser intensity as opposed to going over the trauma the psychotherapy, talk therapy way. It's much smoother and easier to do it through the use of hypnotherapy techniques.
I was off mute. One of the things that I think it's important for people to know is that a lot of people go into, in fact, probably almost anyone go into hypnotic trance more or less almost every day. And do you know, what would you guess, Carmen, is the most popular hypnotic instrument of these days? The one that uses trance the most?
It's just a question, hi, how you doing? And people are fine, pretty good. How about you?
It's this.
Oh, well, that too. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The cell phone, yes. The moment you go on a cell, you begin to scroll to social media, you're already hypnotized. Because it engages the eye muscles, and sometimes in our way, hypnotism used to be done with a pendulum, and you would have to move your eye, and it would tie your eye muscle, and by the movement of the eye muscle generates a particular brain wave. And this is how people would be induced into hypnosis. And the cell phone, you're definitely hypnotized. Absolutely. But before we get there, at least here in the US of A, the very first form of trance, like, how are you doing? Good. How about you? We not always do good. So oftentimes I don't even answer. I just say, how are you doing?
A lot of people say daydreaming is a form of hypnosis. Involves the theta waves, where we find ourselves just kind of staring off into the space and not thinking about anything, but then not thinking. That's a form of it. With social media, how many times have we picked up our phone and say, let me just check this right quick, and then we look back up at the clock and 30 minutes have passed, and we're like, what happened? That's a clear indication of being in a trance. That's one of the indicators of a trance, to lose track of time.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So we had someone that commented here that hypnosis is definitely not brainwash, and he's saying that this is somebody's feedback. I have been hypnotized more than a few times. It was still me and had my same morals. Thank you for saying that. Of course you have the same morals. The hypnosis only opened me to other levels of consciousness. Yes. What we do in hypnosis, we bring out into your consciousness that which you need to work on. And once you are aware of certain habits that are unhealthy for you, certain thoughts, certain emotions, then you can do something about it. And this is what hypnosis does. We don't put you to sleep. We awake you to your realization.
There are numerous definitions of hypnosis, and every scholar that studies it seems to want to come up with their own unique definition. And I was reading some the other day. Some are very elaborate, very exquisite. Some are very simple. The one that I read that that made sense to me is 4 words: meditation with a goal. And there are many other explanations of what hypnosis is. One of my teacher in therapy, Jay Haley, who wrote the book on Milton Erickson, the first book, he said one of the there were several great mysteries of psychology. One of them was schizophrenia. One of them was one schizophrenia. The other one was hypnosis. It's one of the great mysteries of how it works. But it works. So anyway, interesting.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. When it comes to schizophrenia, a lot of caution has to be handled. Hypnosis, when there is a severe mental illness, a lot of caution needs to be proceed with caution when there is severe mental illness. And schizophrenia is a severe mental illness, and it can fluctuate. So yeah,
he was just saying it was a mystery. He didn't say that it could be hypnotized. He said the great mysteries of psychology were hypnosis, schizophrenia, and the nature of change. And we've never understood all three of those yet. So hypnosis is still being studied, still being proven. I just read it's a very interesting, but you have to search for it because it is not in the mainstream news at all. I hate to say that, but it is a peer-reviewed meta study of serotonin levels. Is the theory of a chemical imbalance correct? That people are depressed, mentally ill, whatever, because of a chemical imbalance. This was a meta study of thousands of other studies, peer-reviewed, totally dismissing that theory, that there's no evidence that specifically serotonin, there's no evidence that a deficit of serotonin does anything for anybody, creates or does not make depression or creates depression.
Okay, now let me say something about that. Well, it depends who's doing the study. Okay, so depends who's doing the study. And there is something about serotonin. Okay, so if those people that have, okay, now okay, now I have to be careful how I address it because I was gonna go a direction which no, I don't want to go to that direction.
Well, my point is that instead of relying on the medicinal side of trying to change things, hypnosis is a non-invasive, non-medicinal way to address those very problems.
Absolutely, you are correct, because through the process of hypnosis, through the process of relaxation, we are helping. It's just how the brain works. I mean, I'm not touching your brain waves, right? Nobody's touching your brainwaves unless your scalp is open and they physically have an instrument to touch your brainwaves, right? So in hypnosis, through the process of relaxation, and you're going to alter your brainwaves when you watch a movie and you like it or you don't like it. Your brainwaves are altered. But through the process of hypnosis, your brain produces certain chemicals and will release more serotonin. And it's not related to just a happy chemical. I mean, there's a quartet. There's like four different neurotransmitters that are called the happy neurotransmitters. But serotonin, like when people don't have enough serotonin in their body, studies have demonstrated that people have low self-esteem, and for that reason, behavioral scientists have discovered that a lot of people, like people belong to gangs or to whatever groups they belong to, and they continue with that group, or they follow a cuckoo leader. Okay, let me not just go deeper into that, because being part of that group, just the group ambience increases their serotonin levels physically, chemically. Now, that's quite fascinating if you ask me. Did anybody ask me if it's fascinating? It is fascinating.
Well, my point was not to debate serotonin. I think, according to this study, it's a myth. But anyway, not to debate it. My point is there's ways to get things, ways to change a life without necessarily going through medicine.
Yes,
can
yes,
help.
absolutely.
Medicine can
Yes.
help some people, but hypnosis is a tragically underused technique that can do a lot for a lot of people.
Correct. You are correct. Tragically underused technique. Because what did Mesmer do? I mean, mesmerizing and hypnotism comes from Mesmer, and he is the one who, through the power of suggestion, removed people's symptoms. Now, what if we can do that with you? And I'm not saying that I'm going to be able to remove your COVID symptoms, because there's a virus going on over there currently that it's biologically altering your physical body. But are we able to reduce the severity and the intensity of that? Absolutely, yes. Yeah. So, but then on another hand, not everybody is hypnotizable. There are people that will not, they're so resistant to hypnosis that you cannot achieve good therapy with them. So it depends, but you are correct. It's a tragically underutilized method of increasing your well-being.
And one of the reasons I think that you brought out earlier was I think we can never say enough how much it's misrepresented in media, because it's so I saw a movie once. There's several movies that bring it up, but very popular movies. There was a movie once where one of the people would tap I remember her tapping a spoon on a cup, and it made this guy go into an immense so deep a trance that he fell into a black hole and was going to have brain surgery. And that's it's so different than what hypnosis is. Hypnosis could never make somebody do that. But
absolutely, you are correct, and you are correct. So that's a lot of myths, and with all, even if we're looking at what's happening lately on planet Earth, here in the, how advanced are we? We're not primitives, so I would like to believe that we're quite advanced, at least with technological advance. Are we emotionally intelligent advanced? I don't know. But if we are to look at current happenings, there are more people resisting the good, the greater good, and resisting the healthy, working towards increasing health, working towards respecting natural resources, working towards lesser consumption, lesser penetration, lesser consumption of natural resources. There are more people that work to destroy than the health, as opposed to people that there are a lot of people that are working to repair the health, because too many people destroy the health, and that is sad. So these people, they have some sort of self-interest in it, and a lot of people just those leaders, they just get a kick out of seeing, they get so energized by seeing people following them and being liked by the people. It produces a lot of serotonin in them, and then they feel so important, because with not enough serotonin, people are to have, okay, I'm not going to say that. So serotonin is important, proper amounts of serotonin, and a lack of that. Well, doctors nowadays prescribe serotonin type of medication for various purposes, even for the purpose of helping with chronic pain, because serotonin doesn't work on pain specifically, but it helps with taking the edge off. And even if you're taking the edge off the pain, you can live a happier, more productive life, and that's a big deal. So people that take down hypnosis and they talk all kinds of, let them do it. It's not for them. I'm not addressing them. They can click next.
Well, and not everybody wants to be hypnotized, and that's perfectly okay too.
Yes.
I have a friend that she mentioned it to me. She knows I'm a hypnotherapist, and she said he's available if you'd like. She goes, I don't believe in that. That stuff doesn't work. That's a junk. Well, would it be worth me trying to hypnotize? I mean, they have a right to believe it. I would argue that she's probably in a trance more than she would think she is, but that doesn't mean she wants to be hypnotized. And no, absolutely. The people that want to be hypnotized do the best, and a good hypnotist is not going to see anybody that that comes in. One of the questions some of the teachers I get here, they'll say, well, what if somebody comes into your office and says, this is just a lot of junk, I don't even believe in this? And the teacher will say, you'll never have somebody say that. They're not going to write out a check to you for a fee and say this is junk. The ones that think it's junk aren't going to come see it. So yeah, that's perfectly okay. There's more than one way to well, I shouldn't. The phrase is skin a cat, but I'm trying to think of one that's a little more animal friendly. But there's more than one way to do something. There's never just one way to do anything. So yeah.
Go ahead, Randy. I'm typing a message here. Keep on going.
The other thing that I think is good for people to know is that one of the another study that was quoted that I saw was a study of hypnotherapy versus regular psychotherapy, and this was a meta study, meaning it was a study of studies, and this is not in stone. Everybody's different, but in the of psychotherapy, which is long-term talk therapy, after some people have gone for hundreds of sessions, the average percent of improvement that say people felt improved was 38% after dozens of sessions. In hypnosis, after 6 sessions, over 90% of the people participating in hypnosis feel improvement. And another thing that I think is really interesting about hypnosis is that it's like the therapist plants a seed in your subconscious, and the seed doesn't, just like a real seed, it doesn't just sprout that moment and start blooming. It has to be watered, it has to be fertilized, it has to be put in the right amount of sunlight. The soil has to be kept clean. Bugs have to stay away, and animals, and et cetera, et cetera. So that has to be nurtured. And after a while, the seed will start to sort of sprout, and then it'll start growing and more. And how much it grows, how soon it sprouts, and how healthy it is depends on how much effort is put into nurturing. That means that somebody's getting hypnosis doesn't just, they will not be happy with the results if they go in and say, okay, make me stop smoking, and we'll close my eyes. Go ahead. The best results come, like I heard somebody say, hypnosis is like practicing a trombone. The more you practice, the better you get, which is true for anything. So self-hypnosis, a lot of people recommend 2 and 3 self-hypnosis sessions a day. If you do 3 or 4 or 5, then that little plant's going to grow quicker and quicker and be more and more healthy.
Yes, and those people that come to you and say, okay, I want to stop smoking, go ahead and have it happen now. Those people don't necessarily really want to stop smoking. You can if somebody is smoking and they pretend to, okay, how do I say this? When somebody is ready to quit smoking, hypnosis will work for them. But if somebody is coming in and I said, okay, hypnotize me so I can quit smoking right now, it's not going to work for them. And I'm not even going to work with that person whatsoever. I have clients that have come to me and they said, I'm smoking, I would like to quit. I'm still 3 months later with them. I have not yet worked on quitting smoking because they are not ready. if you're not ready, and if you haven't decided within yourself, okay, I'm gonna quit, then it's not gonna take. And sometimes, and if people just come in and say, well, okay, I had hypnosis for smoking and it didn't work. Well, hypnosis did work, but you didn't work on quitting. So if you have hurt your knee and you take a Tylenol or an Advil, guess what? In 4 to 6 hours, you have to take another one. So why isn't Advil or Tylenol removing all of your pain in the knee when it hurts your knee? So just like Randy said earlier, we place a seed and it takes time for the seed to grow, and you have to nurture that. I mean, have a house plant and don't water the house plant. What's going to happen with it? Right.
I went to a seminar, well, it was an online seminar, and the teacher was saying she would work with people who want to stop drinking, but the pre-talk, what we call the pre-talk, talk before the session, but she would do this before she even met with them. She'd say, I'm not trying to get clients. I'm trying to get clients who will do what's necessary to get the problem solved. Is that you? She get right in their face and says, is that you?
Yeah.
Say, yeah, then she'll work with them. If they're not sure, and part of it is what a lot of people may struggle with is that they may consciously say, well, yeah, I want to, smoking's horrible. It costs a lot of money, makes me smell bad, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. My mother died of cancer. On and on all these conscious thoughts, but they're subconscious. They've not explored enough of their subconscious to understand what's motivating. Hypnosis can get to that, but it's not going to stop them from smoking until they address whatever subconscious need there is for it. I heard the same teacher said, the subconscious is like a bouncer in a club. The subconscious is very protective, and it's going to hold on to something like smoking or anxiety or worry or weight or whatever, or negative thinking. It's going to hold on to that because if it thinks that this is protection, well, how's smoking protecting? Well, it does relax people. It does give them something to do. It does take their mind off something, and it does give them a way to occupy their mind. And the subconscious is not going to let go of that until it's convinced that it's okay to do that. And that's what good hypnotists would do. Would you agree?
Yes, 100%, because the subconscious works with patterns, and the subconscious hears and knows everything the conscious is doing. Conscious, it knows and hears everything. So if the conscious, if you just say, yeah, I want to quit smoking, but you don't necessarily believe it. You just say that I want to quit smoking because your wife wants you to quit smoking, or because your doctor, or because you got the diagnosis of lung cancer, and it might be a little too late for you if you already got lung cancer because of smoking, right? But whatever the reasons you have for smoking, that's a coping mechanism. And what I keep telling every client is to try smoke without the cigarette. Because you said earlier, Randy, that hypnosis gives you something to do and it relaxes you. It's not the nicotine as much that helps you relax, the nicotine or the tar, is the breathing out. It is the breathing out that relaxes you. So if you take time throughout the day when you are about to reach for a cigarette, and here I am doing free therapy, and if you take time and just breathe out, just as you were to exhale with the cigarette smoke, you would see how it calms you down. Why? Because this type of breathing, it triggers your parasympathetic nervous system. It generates different brain waves. It releases the happy hormones and all that by the power of your subconscious that runs your body and your biological processes. So all you have to do consciously is consciously breathe. Yeah, we don't exhale enough throughout the day, and we are overwhelmed and stressed. We're just taking breathing, and then we don't. Yeah.
And that's just one example of how hypnosis can work with smoking. I mean, there's, thousands of other things it can address, but that's an example. And just following through on that example, once the subconscious is convinced that it's okay to let go, there's going to be something that will take the place of something like a bad habit, like smoking, then that person's a non-smoker. Once the subconscious is convinced of it, and that's what hypnosis does. It doesn't do it in one session, but over the course of several sessions, along with some self-hypnosis at home, then it can do wonders for not just, obviously not just smoking, but just for a lot of things. The smoking is a good example of how it works, and how what seems to be something was so illogical, because we all know about how bad smoking is. I mean, they have skeletons on cigarette packages now, practically. And so everybody knows. Well, why doesn't people stop? If it's so horrible for you, then why are people still smoking? And I saw a nurse smoking the other day, and why would a nurse be smoking? So yeah, it's complicated.
Yes, it is complicated, but then, why do people don't stop, and why do people do bad things to them is, just talked earlier, that there are larger concentration over destroying as opposed to building or saving or preserving. So mankind is so good at destroying resources of the planet. So what happened to the planet before humans? There was an ecological harmony and balance on planet Earth. Animals don't go to war. Animals kill each other when they're hungry. And predators are going after prey. And if you look at the balance, there's more prey type of animals and fewer predators as animals. And animals don't rape each other. Animals don't get guns and go shoot at each other. They do it only when they're hungry, right? But do people do this? No. People don't know when enough is enough. And people don't know to eat only when they're hungry. So they'd rather go do a bunch of destruction, and to themselves and then to others. Or lately, this fame virus, it's gotten so out of control. I mean, I thought that victim, rescue, prosecutor is the worst thing that happened to humanity, which it is. But now that has turned into this fame virus, the need for followers and the fame. And I do as I say, that's even more dangerous. I mean, it's really, there's some really dangerous things happening over here with people being brainwashed by a lot of leaders. And it's not just religion, and it's not just politics. And the truth of the matter is that you do know what's right for you because you have a gut instinct. And unless your amygdala is not working. I don't know. Some people just have a low self-defense mechanism, that they have a different emotional trigger and response, and they just like to be led by others. Lead me, tell me what to go, tell me what to do. I will follow your lead, do as you say, and so on. And this is how people end up in cults, and this is how people end up killing themselves, believing that they're going, see, beliefs. You have a bunch of beliefs which are non-physical, you can't see them, just like the air, and then the belief goes so deeply into your subconscious that say, okay, I'm going to drink this stuff because I'm going to go in the ninth heaven. well, you're going to go out of this body, obviously. So it's the most precious thing that there is that exists on planet Earth is life. L-I-F-E, life, being alive. Life is a gift. And that is what's protected the most. But the quality of life is not. So you want quality of life, hypnosis can definitely, absolutely help increase the quality of your life, the quality of your well-being, the quality of your relationships, the quality of your relationship with yourself, looking into your subconscious self-sabotaging habits. Smoking is a self-sabotaging habit. Yes, definitely.
Not tonight, but maybe the next time we could talk about the way the food industry hypnotizes us and how food itself can hypnotize us. There's a really good book written several years ago, maybe 10 years ago now, called Mindful Eating, that just showed how we can be somewhat hypnotized. I guess that's the word. Maybe it isn't. Maybe that's not the right word. But anyway, maybe it isn't as I think about it. But anyway, we can be, if I go to a movie theater and there's a gigantic ice cube and Coke is being poured over it and it's fizzing and it's bubbling, all of a sudden my mouth is like, I'm dying of thirst. And so I'm kind of in a little mini trance there.
Yes, it is. If I am to grab a lemon and slice a lemon and you look at it, you're going to salivate. That's a function of the biological body. And this is what the marketers are doing. They're using neural language. So me slicing a lemon and you looking at the lemon, that's neural language, right? So marketing, they're using neural language, which goes straight to your subconscious, goes straight to your reflexes, automatic reflexes, by which you're supposed to have automatic reflexes, yeah? But they go about manipulating this. And also, this is what some of the bad leaders are doing too. They manipulate your automatic reflexes, even the sense of patriotism. They manipulate that. And just something that is, I'm very sad about it, and it still blows my mind because that's an aspect I wasn't aware of ever since the so many shooting incidents, is that the gun manufacturer, the way they market, the way they do marketing, they use video games, images, and sounds with guns in the marketing that appeals to white supremacists, to young male adults. It appeals to their patriotism. And guess what? These kids, they have been playing video games for how many years? Which is, video games, they're not unhealthy if they're not abused. But to take this automatism and use it in marketing, that's so not okay. And just heard a talk on a public radio station that the lawmakers were working on adjusting the laws regarding marketing about the guns. And there's some, Congress is working on this. And today they showed on TV, I don't know how we got here, but I guess we got here. There were like 3 major CEOs being interviewed in this. There is a committee going on with the major gun manufacturers here in the US. And every single of the CEOs said that it's not their gun that is the problem, it's other thing that is the problem. If there's no, I grew up in Romania, we didn't grow up with guns. I mean, there was violence and there was crime, but not with guns. So, yeah. So don't make the guns and then it's not going to be crime. Don't make the cigarettes, we're not going to have smoking. Right? Yeah. Yeah. So no, what we want to get from tonight is, I like the way Randy put it, that hypnosis is a tragically underutilized um, method of therapy, method that can help you increase your well-being, increase your happiness, increase your emotional intelligence, and help you become friends with your amygdala.
Yeah, and you don't really even have to go, a person doesn't have to go to a professional for it necessarily at all. There's lots of the internet has millions of free self-hypnosis stuff. There's a debate, and I kind of agree with it, that these generic self-hypnosis things aren't quite as effective because they have to be very broad, and a good self-hypnosis thing is done by a professional for that person individually, so that if somebody does it for me, that my name's in it, and it's like they know what I respond to, and they know what relaxes me, and they know they know not to say you're on a beach and you're very relaxed, because I don't like beaches. So
there you go. Yes. So you're right. There is a lot of guided meditation, but the guided meditation is different than hypnosis. And the reason you want to go to a hypnotherapist is that you do take time to know the person, and there has to be an interview at the beginning, and there has to be it's called asset inventory, which is not necessarily an asset taking inventory, which is an interview, and we get to know you and your processes, and through us asking you a bunch of questions, we get to understand your values, and then we know what to work on. Because not everybody enjoys a vacation at the beach. Some people don't like the beach, and some people had traumatic experiences at the beach and then don't use that language with them.
I mean, there's some self-hypnosis things that are good. I have probably 200-300 of them on my computer. Some of them are pretty good, but if you listen to a lot of them, I have, you'd think that everybody in the world likes the beach. The beach is the most relaxing part. And to me, the first thing I think of is when they say, okay, you're on the beach, I'm thinking, I'm going to have sand everywhere. And it's hot, and I'm going to get sunburned, and I've had skin cancer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, that's not what a hypnotist wants their client to think. They want them to think, oh, this is the most relaxing place I've ever been in my life, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, there are still some good self-hypnosis stuff. My point was, a person doesn't have to go to a professional. It's better, but you don't have to. I mean, you can get some help free on the internet.
Yes. And also what I like to mention is that we do have free guided meditation, and depending on who the participants are, we do hypnosis. Hypnosis works very well in groups. If you want to give hypnosis a try, you can give group hypnosis a try, which is going to be general, of course. But even through that, me as the hypnotherapist, I'm watching every participants, I'm watching their ideomotor responses, so I know what to say next and what not to say. And because the subconscious knows better than your conscious at all times, the body communicates. Even when in a state of hypnosis, the body communicates, and it's quite fascinating. If you ask me, you get to learn somebody's values and beliefs very quickly during hypnosis, and through their ideomotor responses.
The ideomotor responses being the things that we do, that our body does, that we're unaware that it's doing, like blushing. We don't say, okay, body blush, but we blush anyway.
Yes. And there's a lot of sighs like that that happens in hypnosis, and they happen at a particular point in time. And you know, when that happens, you know that's a pain point where you've given the Tylenol. It's like what there is a little boob and you put the Band-Aid over to feel it better. So it's when that happens, I'm happy and I look for it, and I see it as a sign of success.
You know, where I've seen a lot of, well, motor or stations everywhere, but where they're really when I notice them a lot is on those shows like The Bachelorette, where people will be smiling while they're mad, for instance, or they'll be it's just interesting. Just because it's from a hypnotic viewpoint, it's just kind of interesting. But yeah.
From a hypnotic viewpoint, yes, but from an emotionally intelligence viewpoint, this is such a wonderful behavior study and looking into people's subconscious, because these people on a reality TV show like Bachelor, Bachelorette, or whatever other, they are in a very difficult situation. A lot of people might laugh at them. Go ahead and laugh. If that's what you get out of it, then that's what you get out of it. You can click next. But they are in a very difficult situation. They are not actors. They are not trained how to behave. They don't have a repertoire of phrases that they can pull out of their sleeve to have a comeback for. Actors, they are trained to feel a certain way, and good actors, when they portray good movies, and a lot of famous actors, they emote, they feel the feeling of the character, they emote, they transform into that person through their feelings and emotions, and they make a good movie, and you believe, and it's like, oh wow, this is good. They're sad, they're happy, they're whatever in between. But people that are on reality TV, they have not gone to school to learn how to do those things. So in a situation like that, in a reality TV situation,
it's very raw.
It's raw. It's very hard for them. And then there's editing that comes in, and you don't know what they did before or after that particular scene that was shown to you. But yeah, but for me, it's very relaxing. I use it as a human behavior study, and I'm having people join on Monday nights just to chit chat about and talk in during commercials and then after the show, and to address some of the choices that they made, and somebody said what they said, and then what was the domino effect of somebody saying or doing something, and how people were affected by one action. And it gives you an opportunity to see how you do it right and how you can do it better by learning how it's wrong. Then you know not to do what's wrong. Therefore, you're gonna do good. So it's
that's very true. And the other thing I'll say, and then I'm saying is that I was reading somewhere that one of the people that's in this the new Bachelorette, because I keep seeing it on social media, she's 26.
Well, there's two of them. So there's how many seasons? This is a very, very long show, and even famous stars are watching the shows because it's great human behavior study. There's two of them, and the way the show used to run, and the way the rules and the way you go about it, you think you know it, and now they put a twist on it, and they have two of them at the same time, which makes things even more difficult. And we are observing it now because this wasn't done before in this show. Other shows, yes, but not in this show. So to think that you've been watching this show for the past 20 years, and then you go be a contestant and you know what to do because you kind of know a few ropes, you're in for a big twist. With this particular season that's going on, because there's two Bachelorette at the same time. And what I'm observing, the level of empathy and care and respect they have for one another, these two girls, they met in the show before, and they are becoming friends, and they're going through this journey together. And just to see how one cares for another, it's beautiful. And it's entertaining. It's candy to the eyes, of course. That too.
I used to tape record a lot of my sessions, almost all of them, videotape them. And one of the interesting phenomena that happen is two things. One is after I would say, I'm going to videotape this, if that's okay, most people would say, oh yeah, no problem. And then they'd forget it was there. I would forget it was there. It was a non-thing. So that's what happens on television. The other thing is my camera would still be in the corner and nobody ever said anything about it. If I didn't bring it up, they never said, is that thing on? They would just act the way they were. And that's kind of what happens on some of these reality shows too. But yeah, it's a very interesting study in a lot of things.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see in the past few years, because of the drama factor, and because drama brings more viewers. In the past, it was encouraged to keep the villain on, the one that creates more drama because it's dramatic, you have more viewers. But in the past couple of years, you're beginning to see that people have had enough of that. They're tired of seeing bullies and this kind of behavior. So the contestants are saying, no, it's just, this is not acceptable. You can go home. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I am happy to see that. So this has been an interesting. I like talking about hypnosis a bit better than emotional intelligence. Well, I like emotional intelligence too. I like that a lot. And I still have that free 3-day challenge on emotional intelligence that is being quite successful. And I've gotten some really good feedback on that. Some presenting concepts and people, and then going over concepts, and then going over a few details like a course of action, like actionable steps. And that's going very well, and I'm happy to see that. And that's free. That's a 3-day challenge, talking a little bit like 3 different topics over the emotional intelligence, talking about the topics, and then a little bit of homework to do. I'm getting really, really good feedback on it, and I'm happy to be able to offer that. So I think that's going to be it for tonight. Yep. It was very good having you all participate, and thank you for your feedback, and thank you for your questions. We like your feedback. We like your questions, and we'll see you next time. And make sure to send us more of your feedback and more of the questions, and we're going to address them. And of course, you can reach out to me and Randy for a session or 2, but understand that before we go into a session is going to be an interview. And if you don't get to be interviewed, then if you just want to, if you just want to do hypnosis for entertainment purposes, no, I don't think so. You have plenty of it on YouTube, so no, don't waste my time. Don't waste Randy's time either. Yeah. All right. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next Wednesday, 7:15 Central Time. And thank you, Randy.
Thank you. And see everyone later.
All right. Good night, sleep dreams, and be well.